Survivor Series on Saturday night. So most of the segments from tonight's show were designed to build and hype the pay-per-view. Heading into tonight's show, the final member of Bianca Belair's War Games team had yet to be revealed. But that didn't stop Asuka and Rhea Ripley from engaging in a singles match to determine the one-woman advantage for the Women's War Games match. This Saturday's show will be the final pay-per-view of the year for WWE. That means everyone will be looking to go out with a bang, so they are in a good position heading into the Royal Rumble in January. Let's look at what went down during this go-home to Survivor Series edition of Monday Night Raw, for this is Ridiculously Raw. Welcome, everybody, to Ridiculously Raw, the most must-see show on YouTube and Streaming.com today. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, and for the first time in what has been several months, the First Lady, Didi Woodson, the Twisted Angel. It's great to have you back, Didi. I know it's been a rough couple of days for you and your family, and hopefully we can bring you some much-needed joy and comfort to you here tonight as you're a part of this. So we are awaiting the presence of the phenom Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we'll hopefully have him back with us Wednesday night for our very special annual football feast. I'll have more on that at the end. But quick disclaimer before we start. I have a lot of apologizing to do. This past weekend, oh my goodness, I cannot tell you. I mean, I have no clue how it happened, but my net went kerplooey, literally kerplooey. And I was without it for the weekend. We tried to do the NFL show on Saturday, but that lasted for a cup of coffee. I told MF just kibosh it. So, and we did, and we couldn't do the NFL show on Saturday night. We were supposed to do our full gear recap show last night, but we couldn't do that either because of my ongoing issues. But finally, as of about 8 hours ago, around 3 or so this afternoon, finally back up and running the way I should have been all along. And so here we are, folks. I'm ready to go. And yes, Didi, I know you'll remember how to do this. I know it's been a while, but we got you. So, all right. So with that being said, Monday Night Raw was live tonight, the go-home show for Survivor Series week. It's a doubly big week, friends. It's not only Survivor Series week, it's also Thanksgiving week. Hello. So, this week's gonna be a feast and then some, let me tell you. And we start, and this Monday Night Raw, this go-home show for Survivor Series was live tonight from the MVP Arena in Albany, New York, formerly the Knickerbocker Arena, where we started it off with an in-ring segment. Kevin Owens cuts a promo, and he brings out his 4 War Games partners, the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre. They cut a promo, and they get interrupted by the Judgment Day. And then it leads into a 6-man tag team match. The Brawling Brutes versus the Judgment Day. Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Damian Priest against Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Butch. All right, bear with me for a moment here. All right, hold on one moment here. Well, I remembered. Winners of the match, 14 minutes and 50 seconds. It was the Brawling Brutes. They went on to win the matchup. And, wow. Great way to start. To most of the people involved in this match can be considered veterans at this point in their careers. And that helped the less experienced competitors look better. The pace of this match was good because they were given enough time for everybody to have a few minutes in the ring. Even Dominic Mysterio looked better than usual. I'm going to give this about 3.5 stars for the effort. You can certainly make an argument for Fight of the Night honors if you wanted to. And, it was a great way to start it off and give the Brawling Brutes some momentum heading into the War Games match on Saturday night. But they had that huge match coming up this Friday night in Providence on Friday Night SmackDown, when Drew McIntyre and Sheamus go up against the Usos to determine who will have the one-man advantage in the men's War Games match. We'll get into that on Friday night. But for right now, this was 3.5 stars. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. What a way to start. A great promo by KO and the Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre ahead of their War Games match. And then a bonus 6-man tag with the Judgment Day with the Brawling Brutes winning 14 minutes and 50 seconds. Great way to start this show for the night.
Yeah, like you said, it was a great way to start it. It was a great victory, no doubt about it. Brawling Brutes looked really good. They handled their business. They did what they needed to do. Going into that battle looked amazing. I don't think that there's much for us to talk about on that front. At the end of the day, you kind of need to you want to look good going into War Games. That's why getting the Brawling Brutes to win that match, academic, predictable. There's really nothing more to say there. Now, like you said, Friday night, Providence, Rhode Island, SmackDown Live, that is a huge match on that end. Because remember, in War Games, you want to have, quote unquote, the power play. You want to have that man advantage. Because even though it might not have any factor at the end, but trust me, having a man advantage in a match like War Games is very, very, very beneficial. So at the end of the day, we'll see how it plays out. But this was about 3 stars, like you said, Anthony. Great matchup. Didi, it's all yours, my dear.
Well, did anybody notice that the way the Brawling Brutes and McIntyre came out was kind of like the Shield coming through the crowd?
Yeah, very noticeable.
Absolutely.
I have a feeling the reason they did that is because of Roman Reigns, because that was how they came out as a Shield. So that was maybe one shot, at them, having them come out that way. The segment was very impressive. I was very pleased with how it went. Match, yeah, definitely 3 stars. Really don't have anything negative to say with the match. But, the guys really set the bar high with that promo. So, yeah, we'll have to see what happens Saturday when we get to hear the other side of the whole picture. So, it's all yours, Florio.
All right, Didi. Let's move on to. All right, of course. What's a show without cutouts? Of course, and we had one here. We were supposed to have. It was supposed to be the Miz squaring off against Johnny Gargano, but Miz wussed out of the match and got someone else to do to fight his battles for him. And who was it? None other than the Nigerian giant Omos. And Omos squashes Johnny Gargano 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And an absolute, maybe it wasn't a delicious squash, as I always say, but the match wasn't much, but it was probably one of the best bouts Omos has had on Raw because Gargano makes everything entertaining. So if I had to put a rating on this, I probably would give it about maybe 1.5 at best. So not much more to say on that. Then there was a sit-down interview, a via satellite interview with the United States Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins, and it was announced by Corey Graves during that interview that Saturday night at Survivor Series, Seth freaking Rollins is going to defend the United States Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match against Bobby Lashley and Austin Theory. Triple threat matchup. And then from there, Austin Theory comes out. He cuts a promo. And then, well, actually, no. He actually has a match. He has a match against Mustafa Ali. And Austin Theory wins the match 5 minutes and 45 seconds. But then afterwards, Bobby Lashley comes out and then he goes after Theory, and then he goes after Ali, and Lashley just took out, and then Lashley was left standing tall. So, all right. So MF, a lot to make of this here. Lashley, or I should say, Theory, the new and improved Austin Theory, the new edgier Theory that we raved about last week, and I'm sure we're going to rave about him again. Theory defeats Ali, 5:45. Lashley raises hell and beats everybody up, beats everybody in sight, takes names like he always does. And now MF, Rollins, Lashley, Theory, triple threat match for the U.S. title at Survivor Series. How about it?
All right, there's a lot to take away here. Number one, I feel for Mustafa Ali right now, man, because I feel like I'm not going to say he's getting lost in the shuffle, but he could be doing a lot more better than where he is. But if you think about it, he's in a good storyline. You could say he's probably in the U.S. title picture. I know he's been wanting an opportunity at the belt, but I will say this. Theory looks like a real star now. He's actually looking like the star that he should have been all along. He's not the selfie doofus of a kiss the rear end of Vince McMahon anymore. He looks more polished. He looks more vicious. He looks like a diamond in the rough. And as much as we were yelling at Triple H and really getting at him for the failed Money in the Bank cash in and the whole 9 yards, it looks like Trips was right all along, and we should have given him the opportunity to let him work this. And he has. He's made it look a lot more better than ever before, and that's great. Lashley is a destroyer. We know what Lashley can do. And I'm so happy that they're doing it this way too, by making him look like a devastating guy and being a monster, a bad heel with that front. So I mean, it's about maybe a 2-star fight, but then after is really where the real fun begins, because now you got Lashley looking like a devastating force. Then you got Theory looking as awesome as he is. You got Mustafa Ali, who you could say could be in the title picture, could stay there if he needs to. Like what we're seeing right now is just so many good things. And then you got the U.S. Heavyweight Champion with Seth Rollins right now being a tweener, playing the babyface role right now, but also digging, saying that, well, I was the one that put Cody Rhodes on the shelf. Meaning when Cody comes back, whenever that may be, rumors going around, possibly Royal Rumble. But once Cody comes back, if they want to revisit that storyline, and because I kind of feel like there was some unfinished business, but if they want to bring that storyline back, you can instantly have Rollins go back as the heel, have Cody as the babyface, and let's do the dance one more time. So we'll see how it plays out. All we know is that right now, everybody's role that they're playing in this storyline has been amazing, and I think there's really nothing bad to say. So yeah, I could say 2.25. If you want to say 2.5, fine, I'll give you that. Didi, it's all yours, my dear.
Yeah, I could probably give it 2.5 stars. I'm not going to elaborate too much because Fletcher pretty much said everything. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. This was a solid match that helped establish Theory as a dangerous talent moving forward. And I'm right there. Around that 2.5 line. And that triple threat's going to be something at Survivor Series. I'm telling you. Lashley and Theory and Rollins for the U.S. title. Welcome addition to that card. I'll say it like that. So, not much more to say there. Let's continue on here. Set up the next relevant thing here. All right. Then we had Matt Riddle and Elias squaring off against the Alpha Academy in tag team action. And Matt Riddle and Elias win the match 16 minutes and 5 seconds. Dede Woodson. Wow. Better than we thought.
Yeah. I'm trying to find my notes. Yeah, it was surprisingly good. I mean, no, I've never been a big fan of Elias, but it seems like since he's been back, he's been a little better than what he was before. I am a little tired of this Alpha Academy crap, but the four of them together in the ring, they had something solid tonight, and it looked really good. So I'm actually going to give it 3 stars. I'm not going to say too much because I'm really rusty at this. So it's yours, Florio.
Yeah. All in all, this was a relatively standard WWE style tag team match. Both teams had time to shine, and the combo of Riddle and Elias seemed over with the crowd. So it wouldn't be shocking if they teamed up for a little while until WWE figures out plans for each man on his own. But this was the sleeper fight of the night. I didn't really think much of this going in, but I was pleasantly surprised. I'm going to give this about 3.5, maybe even 3 3/4 of a star. And wasn't really because of Elias. No, it was because you had Riddle in there, you had Gable in there. Otis has gotten much better. And I know the Alpha Academy thing's not for everybody. I know Dede's not really a fan of them, and I can understand, but they've grown on me.
I'm not a fan of Elias either.
And I'll give you that too, Dede. I wasn't really a fan of Elias's either myself, because I wasn't really crazy about the gimmick or his abilities, but but as far as Alpha Academy goes, I mean, they've grown on me. They've grown on me throughout the year, so much so that I bought not 1 but 2 of their shirts on WWEshop.com. And a matter of fact, I'm wearing the new one right now. So that brand new red shoe shirt, yeah, I love it. So, and that whole shoes thing has become a running gag for myself and Michael Bullock during our Raw chats. And we didn't have one tonight, but I know if we had one, we would have. But yeah, I saw that coming, Dede. I know. So, but all kidding aside, sleeper fight of the night, 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 of a star. MF, like I said, I didn't have much hope for this going in, but they gave them 1650 out there. Whoa.
Yeah, they gave us something really to sink our teeth into, and boy, they did it. That was an amazing match. That was an amazing battle. Better than expected. I think that's the best way to say it. As far as talking about maybe best fight of the evening or something like that, man, I have no idea. I think it was better than expected. Like I said, it was great. It was a great battle. How do I feel about the body of work? It's good. There's a number of ways that this could go, but I will say this: it was enjoyable. It was awesome. I thought the matches I thought the match was fine. I don't think there's going to be nothing more to say. So, yeah, I thought they did a really good job with this. So, I'm gonna go with the 3 1/4. I'm gonna go with the 3 1/4, 3.5. So, Anthony, back to you.
All right, next up, we had the first of 2 WrestleMania rematches here. This one from WrestleMania 38 earlier this year, back in April, as it was Baron Corbin with the Hall of Famer JBL in his corner, squaring off against Drew McIntyre. And just like at WrestleMania, Drew McIntyre defeats Baron Corbin, but he did so in 17 minutes and 50 seconds. Wow. Very good match here. This match might not have been unique, but it was actually kind of fun. These guys know how to work together, and they made sure to deliver a solid performance. Considering Drew McIntyre is on the Survivor Series card and Baron Corbin isn't, it shouldn't surprise anyone that the Scottish Warrior scored the win. However, he did so with a small distraction from Akira Tozawa. But the thing was, Tozawa's not dressed in that ninja outfit anymore. It looked like the Akira Tozawa of old before they dressed him up like a ninja for all those years, and I like it. So I'm hoping. I mean, I know he's still going to do his comedy nonsense, but I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm hoping that we'll get that ha Tozawa back. I mean, because that was the Tozawa that was fun. So that's who I want to see, the cruiserweight Tozawa that I saw on 205 Live. So, but anywho, this was another 3.5, teetering on 3 3/4 star match, and another pleasant surprise match. So there isn't much more for me to say on this. So MF easily better than the match they had at WrestleMania. The match at WrestleMania, this one far better. McIntyre defeating Corbin 1750. Whoa.
Oh yeah, light years. The major, like, you want to talk about a difference between night and day? That's exactly what we got. This was a night and day situation. He looked a lot more better, a lot more sharper, a lot more like this was. And I hate to say this, but because I'm not really the biggest Corbin fan, but this was his personal best. This was like one of his best matches he's had in WWE, and especially after linking up with JBL and doing this. I hate to say this, but JBL has really done wonders for Baron Corbin. He has made him a viable, legitimate, and actually made his character a million times better, probably better than anything he's done in the last few years. I think his best character was the Lone Wolf when he was Money in the Bank, where he could have become the champion, but after he failed to cash in Providence, me and Bullock were there. After that happened, you kind of felt like maybe you don't know what they were going to do with it. Obviously, when he was King of the Ring, that was a failed experiment. Then they tried to do the Happy Corbin thing. Forget it. Don't even get us started with that. But now you got this Corbin that is really focused, really guided in, and to have a really good talker, a mouthpiece like JBL, I think he's done wonders. And now you're giving him really good matches, better quality performances, and now you gave him one of the better workers in WWE in Drew McIntyre. Yes, Drew is going to win that match. That was a foregone conclusion. Drew is very high, plus you got to give him momentum for Survivor Series going into War Games. But Drew, without a doubt, got the win here, which was awesome. I was ecstatic. I'm happy. I love what's going on. I think this is going to be a really fun time now because, like we said, we're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But my goodness, man, what a night. What an event. Another 3.5 stars. I totally agree. Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 stars. It was a fairly good match. I was a little shocked to see Tozawa blonde-headed, but hey, it was definitely a better Tozawa than what we've had. Not quite sure what to make of the backstage segments with the poker stuff, but last week was kind of fun to watch, seeing Tozawa, take them for everything they're worth, and then going out there today to get the hat, just kind of made it that much more interesting. And it was a perfect win for Drew, just to get him that extra momentum, like you said. So nothing more to add. It's yours, Florio.
All right. Now we move on to what ended up being the main event of the evening, as we had. Well, first we had Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexa Bliss cut a promo, hyping up the War Games match. The only bit of bad news, well, it was bad news for Albany. But good news for Providence, even though unfortunately myself, MF, and Bullock won't be there to see it live. But Bianca Belair announced that this Friday night on SmackDown, they will finally reveal who will be the 5th and final member of their War Games team. So Providence, get ready for that. So that's all I can say there. But it did lead, and then the Damage Control team showed up. All hell broke loose. And then when order was restored, we had our main event of the evening: Asuka versus Rhea Ripley in a War Games Advantage match. The winner of this match would earn the 1-woman advantage for her team in the Women's War Games match. And the winner of the match, in roughly an even 18 minutes, Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley wins the match, and with that, Team Damage Control now has the 1-woman advantage for the Women's War Games match at Survivor Series. And this was the other rematch, by the way. I said there were 2 WrestleMania rematches. This was the other one, WrestleMania 37. It was Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship, and Rhea Ripley dethroned Asuka to become the Raw Women's Champion that night at Raymond James Stadium. So not much more to say. MF, Rhea Ripley wins the match in roughly an even 18 minutes. Team Damage Control has the 1-woman advantage going in, but then again, the heel team almost always gets the advantage in the War Games match.
Yeah, almost every time. I think there's only one time that I can remember in War Games where the face team actually got the power play, got the 1-woman advantage. And I think it was in a women's match where I think it was, I'm trying to remember. Was it Team Raquel Gonzalez? I think it was Team Raquel. And I think they had the 1-woman advantage going into the War Games, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I mean, it was a really good match. It was a solid battle. 3 to 3.5 stars again. I think that's the actual thing. But now the question becomes is who is going to be that final member for Team Bianca Belair? Who is going to be that final one? And you notice Bianca hinted that a lot of women wants to be part of that squad. Legitimately, realistically, there's only one that's on the top of my mind, on the top of my list, that realistically would be the perfect person for that squad. She saw them the night they were formed at SummerSlam when she suffered that injury that sidelined her. It's only fitting that it would be none other than the man, Becky Lynch, as the 5th member representing that squad going into Survivor Series.
Dude, can you imagine what the Amp's going to do if it is her?
Oh.
That could be Stone Cold 2001 all over again.
Oh, yeah. And you know Providence gets a bomb or two somewhere down the pipeline. I don't know what it is. Every time WWE comes to Providence, something crazy happens.
Women's Royal Rumble, anyone?
Every time. There's something about WWE and Providence, Rhode Island, and there's always something crazy that happens at that arena.
Yeah,
we know it every time. We've been there. How many times have we been there and something nutty happens?
Let me count the ways. Roman announcing leukemia. Stephanie announcing the Women's Royal Rumble match.
Yep.
Ambrose turning his back on Rollins on that same night after they won the titles. I mean, gosh, Ronda winning the SmackDown Women's title. I mean, we were there for that, the pay-per-view. So a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have happened.
we had the announcements of the Raw and SmackDown general managers. We had Stone Cold's return when he had that decision to make. Was he Team WWE or Team Alliance? You had a number of moments, from King of the Ring to new champions being crowned. We've had so many champions being crowned. We had a Money in the Bank cash-in Providence. There has been so many times. Draft night for SmackDown, having an epic night, probably one of the biggest nights they've ever had.
Superstar
Shakeup. And
2018.
without a doubt, that was the night SmackDown obliterated Raw. Like, obliterated them.
The rich got richer that night.
The rich got richer. Like you said it. So, and everybody admitted it. SmackDown won that draft night. That Superstar Shakeup.
Easily.
SmackDown ran that night. They ran circles over Raw.
I will admit that. You were right.
So, I don't know. Like I said, the only one I can think of is Becky Lynch. She'd be the perfect person. Because remember, the storyline, the Damage Control storyline literally started after Bianca successfully defended the title against Becky.
SummerSlam.
And at SummerSlam. And you saw when Damage Control rolled in and cornered Bianca, who was the first to step up? Becky Lynch rolled back into the ring with a bad arm and stared them down like, you ain't doing crap. And at the time, Bayley basically held the girls back like, whoa, no, we can't do this. Bianca and the man? We got to retreat. Well, let's bail out. So, if it's Becky Lynch, oh my God. That's all I'm just going to say.
Oh, my word.
But it could be anybody. It could be anybody that it could be. Could it be Charlotte Flair?
I mean, if they're holding it for Friday, it's got to be somebody big.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Otherwise, they would have done it tonight.
What's the point?
Exactly.
What would be the point? So, Charlotte, okay, maybe Charlotte Flair. That would be awesome to have her there, even though there's no dynamic, but who knows? There could be something there. You got Becky would be the obvious choice, most definitely. Or is it somebody who could get called up?
A caller from NXT?
Could it be a caller from NXT? Or
possible. Could
it be somebody that Triple H is holding in the back pocket that he just signed? There's rumors about Chelsea Green showing up. Could it be her?
Or could it be one of the two who walked out, and possibly one of them could be on their way back while the other's still waiting in the weeds? I don't know.
Yeah. Could it
be one of those two?
Could it be one of them? You don't know.
That's huge too. That would be huge too.
All we know is that whoever it is going to be a game changer. And regardless of Team Damage Control having that woman advantage, that one woman advantage, which they do now, this will be a change because whoever it is, it's going to tip the balance of power. It will even it out. If it's Becky Lynch, I hate to say that the pendulum swings and it will be advantage team Bianca Belair. Belair's team will be the favorites going into War Games.
Big time.
Big time. Because look at the body of work. Look at who they got. Asuka. Alexa.
Bianca. Bianca, Asuka, Alexa, Mia Yim.
So those four right now, Mia, unfortunately, is the weak link because of the fact that, and I'm not calling her a weak link because she's not bad. But when you're talking about resumes and body of works and everything you've done in WWE, I'm sorry. Her stats don't hold up. They don't hold any water. But she's relatively new. She had a bad break because she never got that opportunity, the first time around in WWE. She has some success in NXT, but never was a champion. But Asuka, multi-time champion, multi-time tag champion. Alexa, we could run her numbers down and everything else. Bianca, one of the best in the game right now. As a matter of fact, you could even make an argument she's the female wrestler of the year in 2022 because of what she's been doing.
Agreed.
So you got all that body of work, and now you possibly incorporate the man, Becky Lynch? Forget it. It is game over if that happens. It's a 3.5-star fight. That's the person I'm hoping for. I hope it's Becky. I want it to be Becky Lynch. More than just for a personal reason. Nod, wink, wink on that. But you get the reason why. But nothing more to say. Didi, I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna get off my high horse right now.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I'm thinking after all the Twitter buzz we've had the last, I guess it's 24 hours or so, that more likely it is Becky Lynch that's coming in. I mean, Sasha Banks is doing different things on TV. This they showed the ad after Raw for this Barmageddon thing that Nikki Bella is hosting with Blake Shelton and them. And they posted Sasha Banks' name as Sasha Banks on the show. Yet, she's doing a lot of things, trademarking a lot of things under her real name. So not really sure where she's going with that. Haven't heard a whole lot of information on Trinity, so we don't know where she's going. So, and of course, Charlotte, nobody's heard from her at all. So more than likely, yeah, it's probably Becky Lynch, unless, like you said, they've got somebody in their back sleeve, or they're giving one of the SmackDown people another push. If you think of some of the ones that's gone for the title on SmackDown, you'd have Liv Morgan, you'd have, you have several over there. I right now, my brain is fried. So, but yeah, as far as the match, I agree on the match. Rhea definitely had most of the control on the match. Asuka didn't really get a whole lot of momentum in it, but still, it was a very well done match. It ended the right way, even though Damage Control got the advantage, and at the same time, the whatever you want to call the other team, they kind of got their own advantage too by knocking everybody out. My only thing is have you all kind of noticed that Alexa Bliss just doesn't seem real super excited about this? She's almost like she's going back into the whole Bray Wyatt thing. She's kind of just out there somewhere. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. I kind of feel like that. I honestly think that video or that little vignette that hit at Crown Jewel might have jogged her memory a little bit. I kind of noticed that too.
Yeah.
She hasn't been the same since that night.
Yeah, she hasn't, and she's been a little more standoffish with the other girls. She hasn't, really seemed to, really be the bubbly self that she used, that she was being there before all this. And then tonight, she's centering out Nikki Cross, which was the one she was with when all this Bray Wyatt stuff started. So, I don't know if there's a connection with all that, if this Uncle Howdy thing, is picking people out that either he wants into what could be the new Wyatt faction, or if it's he's doing this to line up people for Bray to take out later. I don't know. It seems awful odd that she's just not really in this, and I hate to say, that could cost Bianca's team if these wires get crossed that seem to be happening with that Uncle Howdy stuff that's been popping up around her lately. So I'm not going to add too much more. So it's yours, Florio.
Fight of the night for me, I'm going to give it about 4 stars for the effort. As expected, Rhea Ripley and Asuka had a competitive match that allowed both women to play to their strengths. Asuka was all about the strikes while Ripley kept trying to overpower her. Solid main event between two of the toughest women on the roster. War Games will be a lot of fun after this preview tonight. And then the show ended with both teams fighting at ringside here. So there isn't much more for me to say here. So 4 stars for me, fight of the night. And overall thoughts, Dee Woodson, I know you got to get going. So we'll have you lead off on the overall thoughts for this go-home show for Survivor Series for Raw tonight.
I thought it was a pretty good show. I'll probably go about 7.5 on it. It was good for a go-home show. You had a lot of match build-up. A lot of talking for the matches, but you also had your low points. But of course, like you said, what Raw is, what Raw do we have that doesn't have a low point every once in a while? You're good. Let's go to the bathroom. Let's go get popcorn type match. Or if you're at home, go do your dishes during that particular match because it sucks. But then you also had your sleeper of the night type things. So yeah, I mean, there's just too many things to go into to delve in the end. So I'm just going to leave it at my 7.5 rating, and I will hopefully see you guys by Friday. Hopefully in a better mood. Hopefully the rest of my week goes better than my weekend did. So good night, all. See you soon, I hope.
Yeah, we hope to see you soon, Dee. It was great having you back here tonight, and our thoughts are still with you and the family, and we're thinking of you all at this time, and we hope to see you back here again very soon. So that's it's a very difficult situation. I've been through that myself this year. So all right.
Yeah, it was a couple of years. It's been a few years ago since I went through it from my parents, but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, very much so. Absolutely is. I know. Trust me, I know. So
bye.
Yeah. All right, Dee. We'll see you soon. So all right. Getting to my overall thoughts here. I'm right there with Dee. I'll give it about 7.5, teetering on 8. I mean, effective. It was an effective go-home show with a lot of hype for Survivor Series. And we had several quality matches here tonight, and we had like 4 or 5 matches that were like 3.5 stars or higher. So that definitely will help. And, definitely, like I said, this is a very solid and effective go-home show, and definitely set the table a little more nicely for Survivor Series. Of course, we'll get the big table set on Friday night on SmackDown when Team Bianca announces their 5th and final member. And you know it's got to be somebody big if they're holding it for Friday in Providence. So not much more to say here. 7.5 to 8. MF, overall thought from you, and then we're going to get into our recap of AEW Full Gear that we were supposed to last night, but couldn't because of my ongoing difficulties at the time.
Yeah, no problem. 7.5 out of 10 was the rating for the show. It was a really good show. I really got nothing more to say. So let's get into AEW Full Gear.
All right. Last night, well, Saturday night rather, we had AEW Full Gear that went down live from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, home of honestly the hottest team in the NHL right now, the New Jersey Devils. Oh my goodness!
I mean, if you want to talk about biggest surprises, other than them and the Boston Bruins, the way the Bruins have been jumped out early, New Jersey has been they've taken a stranglehold of the Metro. Like they are strangling the Metro right now. Nobody can stop them.
And surprise, surprise, they won again tonight. So
yeah,
beating the Edmonton Oilers, no easy task.
So. No, but, especially with Connor McDavid. Oh no, that's impressive. And
don't forget about Leon Draisaitl either.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's that two-headed monster over there. But anywho, sports aside, that's where AEW Full Gear was this past Saturday night, live from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. On pay-per-view, of course, others got to see it via the Bleacher Report and the whole nine. So with that, let's dive right on in. We're not gonna, do a review of the pre-show matches, but I will share the results of that real quick. Let me see. We had 3 of them. We had a 10-man tag team match. The Best Friends, All-Atlantic Champion Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chuck Taylor, Rocky Romero, and a new look Danhausen squaring off against the Factory, QT Marshall, Aaron Solo, Lee Johnson, Nick Comoroto, and Cole Carter. And the Best Friends won the match, 11 minutes and 55 seconds. Then we had the semifinal match in the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Absolute Ricky Starks squaring off against Brian Cage. And Ricky Starks wins the match in an even 10 minutes. He will now face All Ego Ethan Page this Wednesday night on Dynamite. And then the third and final pre-show match featured Eddie Kingston squaring off against Jun Akiyama. Eddie Kingston winning the match 10.5 minutes. So that's it for the pre-show. Now let's get to the main card. And what a way to start it off with a match inside the confines of a steel temper cage. Jungle Boy Jack Perry squaring off against Luchasaurus. Winner of the match in 18 minutes and 40 seconds. Jungle Boy Jack Perry wins the match. Yeah. Just trying to find my notes here. All right. This was a great way to open the show. That started somewhat slow, but built into a brutal, hard-fought, grueling match that saw the right guy go over while adding a signature moment to his highlight reel. This was a star-making performance for Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who finally appears to be back on track after some questionable booking over the last 2 or so months. Easily got to give this somewhere in excess of maybe 4.25, teetering on 4.5 stars. Great way to open the show, or the main card of the show, rather. No doubt about it. So, not much more to say here. 4.25, teetering on 4.5. MF. Whoa. What a way to start it off. Inside the steel temper cage, Jungle Boy Jack Perry became if he wasn't a star before, he damn sure became a star on Saturday night.
Yeah, I'm going to say, like you said, I'm going to say the same thing. I thought this was an incredible way to start it. This was an incredible way to do everything that they did. Like you said, I was feeling the same way. I thought the way that they started it was amazing. So yeah, no, they did really well with it, and I was thoroughly impressed. So yeah, this was about maybe 4.25 is what I'll say as well. So Really nothing more to add. So Anthony, it's yours.
All right, MF. Next up, we thought this was going to be a one-off match, 6-man, or this match for the AEW World Trios Championships. The champions, the Death Triangle, Pac, and the Lucha Bros, defending against the returning Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. Winners of the match, also in 18 minutes and 40 seconds. And still, the AEW World Trios Champions, Death Triangle, wins the match. All right, MF, couple things to decipher here. First off, the Lucha Bros finally gave in and they actually took up Pac on cheating to win. They finally grew with that. They finally did it. And on top of that, this is not just a one-off. Oh no. We learned later in the show that this was only match 1 of a best of 7 series. Match 2 Wednesday night. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. I got a bone to pick with AEW. Why did you have to do this after the fact? I think you could have been done. I don't know if this is even worthy of best of 7. I don't know why. I felt like this should have been just a one-off because of the fact that you could have worked this better. I think the announcement of it being a best of 7, I kind of felt like what's the reason? What is the purpose? I don't think there was any purpose or reason for it. I'm sorry, I legitly got a major bone to pick with AEW about this. I'm not as like if you're trying to get me intrigued or excited over it. I hate to say it, but no, I'm not. I feel like you missed an opportunity here. Honestly, truthfully, like it's gonna be good. I'm gonna be excited, but I don't know. I feel like they kind of burned me on it. So it should have been better, but it is what it is. So nothing more to say. Yeah, it Anthony, it's yours. I mean, the match itself was easily 3.5 to 4.
Yeah, 4.25 stars. The match was great. That was never really in question. The finish was a major shock to the system, as it appeared a foregone conclusion that the Elite would win in their comeback. In the end, this was less about Omega and the Bucks and more about Phoenix's descent and to heal them by doing what was necessary to ensure victory and keep the titles. Omega and the Bucks will probably get the win back on Wednesday night, which is when match 2 will be. But the emphasis on Phoenix and the shocking outcome helped elevate this past the spot happy trios match it was prior to that development. So I'm actually going to give it 4.25 stars for the surprise factor there. Maybe even 4.5. I don't know. But nonetheless, we move on to the battle for the AEW TBS Championship. The champion, Jade Cargill, still without the belt, defending against Nyla Rose, who stole the belt from Jade Cargill. Winner of the match in an even 8 minutes, and still the TBS champion. She's got her belt back, Jade Cargill. She gets it done. I got to say, by default, this was the worst fight of the night. Could probably give this about 2.5, 2.75 of a star. The match was, to put it kindly, disjointed. It never appeared as though the two were on the same page, and it showed. With that said, the competitors overcame messy moments to deliver a quality final stretch, with Cargill showcasing her strength and emphatically defeating her challenger. The question now is, what is next for the champion? Cargill has been so dominant that there is no obvious choice to dethrone her. The longer she stays champion and things remain status quo, she becomes less interesting. So, by default, the worst fight of the night, 2.5, 2.75 of a star. MF, Jade Cargill finally gets her belt back, but the question we always keep asking, if not Nyla Rose, then who? Who is ultimately going to dethrone Jade Cargill for this TBS championship? I honestly can't think of anybody right now. So
Right now, I got it. I'm also in an agreement. I think I just don't know who it's gonna be or who's gonna be the one that's gonna take the title. Um, uh, right now, it does it really matter because Jade is so good right now that I think with her being the champion, I mean, you can really open up and say that this is going to be a great time. Um, Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I mean, for Jade Cargill, I mean, I don't know. I don't know where how this is going to play out or what it's going to look like. But I'll say this: with the way that Jade has been playing, man, she's the best in the world right now, more than anything else. So we'll wait and see. But yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. Nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
all right, MF, here we go. Here's a good one for you to lead off on. The fatal four-way match for the Ring of Honor World Championship. The champion, Chris Jericho, defending against Bryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, and Sammy Guevara. Winner of the match in 21 and a half minutes, and still the Ring of Honor World Champion, the Ocho, Chris Jericho. MF, what a match.
Yeah, this was an incredible battle, back and forth fight, but it was pretty predictable. Jericho winning the match, Sammy Guevara taking the fall. I like to see what type of fallout that's going to happen to know by the way of how are they going to feel about it that it was Jericho winning the match and the way that he won it. Um, getting it on Guevara. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But at the end of the day, this was without a doubt an incredible match. 3.5 to close to 3 3/4. There's really nothing more to say. Anthony, it was everything that we expected it to be. But at the end, Jericho successfully defended the title.
Another 4.25, 4.5 stars. This was a fantastic four-way match featuring guys who know what it takes to deliver in high-profile situations. Chris Jericho held his own in there with Claudio Castagnoli and Bryan Danielson, while Sammy Guevara showed up and showed out to continue what has been a bit of a career renaissance over the last month. What very easily could have devolved into an overbooked mess that focused too much on dissension within the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Blackpool Combat Club, instead focused on logical storytelling between four competitors who set aside friendship in search of gold. Chris Jericho, a grizzled and alert veteran of the squared circle, seized the opening, scored the win to remain champion and continue his crusade. Great stuff and one of the better matches of the pay-per-view to that point. Another 4.25, 4.5 star match for that. Then we had the return of Saraya. Saraya squaring off against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Saraya. Her first match in 5 years or so. Of course, Saraya wins the match. 12.5 minutes. I got to give it about 3.25 here. There is, and what did I say? Saraya with the rampage. 2 consecutive rampages for the win. What did I tell you about that the other night? Anyways, there's a lot to be said about the outcome and whether it was the right call to put someone in the first match in 5 years over an elite performer who carried an entire division on her back for 2 years. But with that said, Saraya was better than she had any right being. Was the action always pretty? No, nor should it have been. The babyface had a long layoff, and ring rust was to be expected. Still, she performed above and beyond what anyone could have expected. Most of all, she was relatively safe, not taking any unnecessary bumps. For as much as Saraya may be the topic of conversation, we really must pay homage to Britt Baker, who is great and carried the weight of the world on her shoulders here. Not only did she have to be safe with Saraya, but she was also responsible for the structure of the match and ensuring her opponent remembered everything they had planned. She was great, keeping things on task and making sure Saraya had a successful return to the ring. She was a pro's pro and definitely deserves recognition for her unenviable position. 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort. No doubt about it. MF, Saraya, outcome was never in doubt. We knew Saraya was going to win her first match back in about 5 years or so. So, how did she look to you? I mean, did you see any ring rust? I mean, I definitely did. What about you?
There was some rust. There was some nerves. You could tell she was. It's like riding a bike. She needed to just do everything that she needed to do again. I thought she did pretty well. I thought she did, pretty good. First time out, you got to give her a chance. And yeah, um, could it have been a lot more better? Yeah, I mean, but solid opener, solid match. I really got nothing bad to say about it. I thought again. I thought they did pretty well. So at the end of the day, I'll give this like you said, three and a quarter, 3.5. So yeah, let's move on.
Oh, here you go, MF, an MF special right here. A Be a Man fight, a three-way Be a Man fight for the AEW TNT Championship. The champion Wardlow defending against Ring of Honor Television Champion Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. The winner of the match, 9 minutes and 55 seconds, and new AEW TNT Champion Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe wins the title, 9 minutes and 55 seconds. He puts away Powerhouse Hobbs with the Coquita Clutch. I only wish Bullock was here because, Bullock and I, another one of our running gags. So,
Yep.
Because we love that hold, especially the sound of it. So,
Yep.
But nonetheless, MF Samoa Joe, a double champion, Ring of Honor Television Champion,
And
now he's got the AEW TNT Championship. New champion, Monsoon. You know what to do.
Yeah, history was indeed made in New York, New Jersey. Look, it was a solid fight. Look, I'm gonna be a little. I don't want to be too harsh about it, but I thought it could have been a lot more better. It was fine. It was good. For me, um, it's basically for me. I gotta say is the rating goes is I'm gonna say about maybe 3 stars. I thought they did an all right job. Could have been a lot more better, yes, but I'm gonna say there's really nothing more to say. I thought it was a solid match, and you know we'll have to see what happens. So Florio, like you said, new champion, and it's yours.
And MF, I know it's got to be awesome for you because I know you're a big Joe fan, and I'm sure you got to be loving that right now. So as a double champion for him, but anywho, remember Ring of Honor has a pay-per-view coming up, and I know MF's gonna probably dive into that on a future Mikey's Mindset as we get closer to it. The Final Battle, December the 10th. It's going to be an afternoon show because NXT is going to be running a show that night. So, and the reason I mention that is because Joe winning sets up a Ring of Honor pay-per-view bout with Wardlow, something that will benefit the event immensely, but hurt Powerhouse Hobbs exponentially. Powerhouse Hobbs has been so poorly utilized over the course of his AEW run that it is becoming clear with every passing week that the super athlete is going to make a promoter a lot of money one day. And perhaps that promoter's name is Triple H. Excuse me. But hey, Wardlow still looks like a total badass throughout, so they did enough to protect him. That his inevitable victory over Joe should help recuperate him following some horrendous booking this summer and fall. Give it about 3 to 3.25 stars for the effort on that. Then we had the no disqualification, no count out tag team battle. Sting and Darby Allin squaring off against Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Sting and Darby Allin win the match in an even 11 minutes. About the same. Another 3.25 star effort here. The Icon partnered with Darby Allin to battle Double J and Jay Lethal in a match that was not nearly as hot as the names involved would have you believe. This was your sports entertainment match of the night. It was a ton of high spots and overbooking, leading to the fan servicing finish. Allin and Sting going over was the right call, but one has to wonder what becomes of Jarrett, Lethal, and company. Do they just disappear from television? Is the feud over? Jarrett is great, but he has felt out of place in this company since day one. So leaving him off television and bringing him back only occasionally is probably the best move, if not keeping him behind the scenes totally. But the only highlight here, of course, Sting doing it again. Another jump out of the stands and wiping out Satnam Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sonjay Dutt on the arena floor. And what else is there to say on that? So another 3.25 star match. MF, your thoughts?
Yeah, about 3. I mean, it could have been a lot more better, but it is what it was. It was solid. It was good. I'm not gonna say great, but it was solid to good. And there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, back to you.
All right, MF, and you'll be leaning off on this one. The battle for the interim AEW Women's World Championship. The champion, Toni Storm, defending the title against Jamie Hayter. Winner of the match in an even 15 minutes. And new AEW Interim Women's World Champion, Jamie Hayter. MF, I know we've given the women a lot of flack over the years, but you gotta consider this after what we saw Saturday night. This has to rank up there as one of the greatest women's matches in the short history of AEW.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna say the greatest, but it definitely will be up there. They did an incredible matchup. They did an incredible battle. This was a good body of work more than anything else, and it worked. It had everything that it needed it to be. It was solid to good. I really enjoyed it. So there's really nothing more to add. So yeah, I mean, this was about 3.5. You could even say almost close to 4, but like you said, history made, new champion with Jamie Hayter. Now the question becomes is what happens next? Is this gonna be her moment where maybe the body of work she leads it leads her to possibly going after could that be the development where you had the blow up with her and Britt Baker? Could it be possible that it could lead us to something bigger? We don't know. One thing for sure is gonna be interesting to see. So nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
This was a really, really strong wrestling match that put the women's division front and center and culminated with the most fan-friendly outcome of the night. A hard-hitting, uber-physical bout saw champ and challenger unload on each other with jarring strikes before Baker and Rebel proved the difference. The question is, how long is Britt Baker willing to play second fiddle to the champion at the expense of her own title aspirations? And where does this leave Toni Storm? And even more importantly, what does it mean for Thunder Rosa when she returns from injury? The fact that there are questions surrounding the women's title that fans are actually genuinely interested in having answered is a step in the right direction for the much maligned section of the roster. 3.5 to 3.75 stars. You could certainly make an argument for 4, absolutely. And what an incredible match. So, and a great moment for Jamie Hayter. I told you she was going to win it. And I know, MF, you had your doubts, and you had every right to, but at the end of the day, Jamie Hayter won the title. I told you she was going to. So, all right. Next up, the battle for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. The champions, the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, defending the titles against Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve Strickland, and Keith Lee. Winners of the match, 19 minutes and 40 seconds, and still the AEW World Tag Team Champions, the Acclaimed. All right. I would say this was the second best fight of the three between these two. This was better than the title switch at Grand Slam in September, but I still think the All Out bout was the best of the three. The story of Anthony Bowen's injured shoulder helped the storyline early, while it felt like the intensifying dissension between the heels should have been played up a bit more, rather than just randomly popping back up late. Strickland and Lee are definitely splitting, ending their run through the division and freeing the Acclaimed up for fresh new challengers in the weeks and months to come. Who that might be remains to be seen, but hopefully it's an opponent who will allow Bowens and Caster to build on their considerable momentum over the last couple of months. So there isn't much more to say on this. This was another 4 to 4.25 star match. The second best match of the trilogy. I still think the All Out match was the best one. They had a damn near 5-star that night, but this was about 4.25 here. So there isn't much more to say here. MF Acclaimed. They end the trilogy. They win this one here. They successfully defend the titles. 19 minutes and 40 seconds. Who's next for the Acclaimed?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. One thing is for sure, though, Swerve in Our Glory is definitely no more. Swerve Strickland was trying to have Keith Lee kind of do something like heel-like thing, and Keith Lee had none of it. Then, yeah, that kind of was the end of that little friendship there. So I like to see how that plays out. But the Acclaim successfully defended the titles. That's the biggest takeaway from it, and the best reason, because you weren't gonna take the belts away from them that quickly. I mean, they just recently won it not too long ago. They were there, and the thing is, they're so over now in AEW. It would have been a major disservice if they would have lost the belts. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But nothing more to say. Anthony, I do believe this leads us to the main event of the evening. And to steal a line from you, kid, this is what the words main event is all about, brother. It
Absolutely.
does not get any bigger than this.
Role reversal there. Yes, just the immortal words of Jesse the Body Ventura at WrestleMania 5. MF, keep your mic on. You're leading off on it. Here we go. The main event of the evening for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. The champion, Jon Moxley, defending against the holder of the Casino Ladder Poker Chip, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Winner of the match, 23 minutes, 15 seconds. And the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. William Regal turns his back on Jon Moxley, throwing the brass knucks into MJF. The power of the punch 2.0. MJF, the World Heavyweight Champion. He wins the title. All right, Monsoon. You got to hit me with it now.
Well, yes, history is indeed made, but I will not give it the unprecedented crowning label because of what Regal did. Oh my goodness. What is gonna be the fallout with the Blackpool Combat Club? What are they gonna think of their leader now? I mean, if you notice after the match was over, Claudio, Wheeler, and Brian were all at ringside to check on Mox, and they told him what happened, and Mox flipped. He was pissed after what happened. Yeah, this is a bad situation, and I don't know what. I want to know what's the reason. Why did Regal do what he did? Did he see something in MJF that because that's going to be the big question is, what's the fallout? Because Blackpool Combat Club was created by William Regal, and he was the reason why he brought in guys like Bryan Danielson, like Jon Moxley, like Wheeler Yuta, like Claudio Castagnoli. And now by consequently turning his back on his own brothers, on his own brethren, to go with MJF? Oh boy. There's gonna be some very hurt feelings, and there's gonna be some explanations that definitely need to be done on Wednesday night. In the immortal words of our good buddy Michael Bullock, William Regal's got some explaining to do. big time. This was incredible. I loved it. I thought this was a great main event. I'm only going to give it 4 because of the finish. It could have been a lot more better, but Anthony, wow, it's
Four to
yours.
four and a 4.25 here. The booking, while something fans had expressed interest in leading into the show, begs one major question. What becomes of Blackpool Combat Club? Surely William Regal cannot preside over a babyface faction that will not be missing its leader in Moxley, especially when he just helped the bane of everyone's existence win the top prize in the company. There is also no reason for the faction to carry the Blackpool portion of the name because none of the participants are actually from there, unlike founder William Regal. Moxley will likely go on that vacation that was cut short following All Out, but what becomes of BCC and Regal's relationship with that in the meantime? And perhaps more importantly, is Regal now aligned with MJF, or is this a one-off recognition of his talent and the competitor he grew into? There is a ton of intrigue at the top of the card, and while this was not a blowaway AEW show, that is exactly the sort of thing you want coming out of a pay-per-view event. The match was solid enough, but the overbooking of the ending certainly dropped it down a peg. Still, MJF is the new World Heavyweight Champion, a role that was tailor-made for him the moment he put pen to paper on his AEW contract. He has earned this opportunity, and at just 26 years of age, has countless years as a top star in front of him. 4.25 stars. Even it was a 4.5 star match, but and the fight of the night, but I'm bumping it down to 4.25 because of the finish, obviously. But anyways, overall review, 9 out of 10. This was a fantastic AEW show. And, you know, I know they've been through a lot in the last 2.5 months or so, ever since the incident following All Out. But they needed a banger of a show, and they definitely gave us one on Saturday night. So the consensus rating I heard was 9. I'm with it. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 as well. MF, your overall thoughts, and I'm going to quickly share the results of the Overdrive show from the Impact Wrestling, as I promised to do so.
All right. 8.5 for me. I kind of felt like it was a good show. Could have been better in certain areas, but I thought it was solid to good. But the night was very predictable, though. I mean, the outcomes were very predictable. There wasn't really that many shocking moments. And as a matter of fact, no big surprises. No debuts, no returns. It kind of was a status quo type of a night. So,
True.
8.5 for me. Florio, it's yours.
All right. I'm just going to quickly get into the Impact Wrestling Overdrive, and then we'll call it a night, and MF and I will set you up with the future content and the times and all that. All right. We had 2 pre-show matches. This was Impact Wrestling Overdrive this past Friday night from the Old Foresters Paris Town Hall in Louisville, Kentucky on Impact Plus. And it was also on Fight TV. It was also on YouTube for the Impact Insiders who have it. 6-way match on the pre-show. Rich Swann, Bhupinder Gujjar, Jason Hotch, Kenny King, Mike Bailey, and Yuya Uemura. Rich Swann won the match 8 minutes, 6 seconds. Then there was a number 1 contenders match for the World Tag Team titles. Motor City Machine Guns versus Ace Austin and Chris Bay of the Bullet Club. Motor City Machine Guns win the match 13 minutes, 24 seconds. They're now the number 1 contenders. Moose versus Bully Ray in a tables match. Bully Ray wins the match 10 minutes and 1 second. Then we had the Death Dolls squaring off against Savannah Evans and Tasha Steelz for the Knockouts World Tag Team titles. Death Dolls, Jessica and Taya Valkyrie successfully defend the titles 7 minutes and 34 seconds. The Mickie James retirement tour, the career-threatening match, the last rodeo. This time, Taylor Wilde took her chance against Mickie James. But Taylor Wilde, like all the others thus far, fell by the wayside to Hardcore Country. Mickie James, career intact, wins the match, 12 minutes, 29 seconds. She continues on. World Tag Team title matchup. Heath and Rhino defending against Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, the major players. Winners of the match, 11 minutes and 27 seconds, and still the World Tag Team champions, Heath and Rhino. The finals of the tournament for the Impact X Division Championship, the vacant X Division Championship. Black Taurus versus Trey Miguel. Trey Miguel wins the title, 15 minutes and 51 seconds. They turned him heel. He's a heel now. He cheated to win. More on that maybe on Thursday. I don't know. Last knockout standing match for the Knockouts World title. Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich. Winner of the match, 21 minutes and 23 seconds, and still the Knockouts World Champion, Jordynne Grace. And then the main event of the evening for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, the champion, Josh Alexander, defending against option C holder, Frankie Kazarian. Winner of the match, 32 minutes and 51 seconds, and still the World Heavyweight Champion, Josh Alexander. Bully Ray comes out after, and then he turned on Josh Alexander, and there's your Hard to Kill main event. Friday night, January 13th, 2023, the Hard to Kill pay-per-view. Josh Alexander will defend the World Heavyweight Championship against Bully Ray with an honest call your shot trophy cash in. So with that will put the bow on this loaded edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. MF, come on back in and let's set the times for the rest of the week. Wednesday night for our special football feast. We already know Friday's going to be 11 and Saturday's going to be 10:30, I'm sure. But
yeah,
what time?
But we'll do the Wednesday. We'll do that at 10 o'clock. We'll do it at 10. So okay. Right after AEW Dynamite ends, we'll go on the air and we'll do the football feast.
And then 11, of course, on Friday, and then 10:30 on Saturday, and
yes,
and Sunday Survivor Series recap.
And Sunday will be Survivor Series recap, and that'll be at 10 o'clock.
All right, very good. All right, so, all right. Now, normally, as we all know, Wednesday night, we usually do Wednesday Night Madness, but for this week only, it's going on the burner because we are going to have, overall, our 11th annual, but the first ever under the TXN Sports World banner, the first annual TXN Sports World Football Feast. Preview the 3 NFL games on Thanksgiving, and then we'll preview the rivalry week games in college football, the second to last week of the regular season in college football before championship week, and then the bowls and all that. So rivalry week, and we'll get into all that Wednesday night, 10 p.m., immediately following AEW Dynamite. No show Thursday, obviously, because of Thanksgiving. Friday night, Cerebral Smack Talk, 11 p.m., hosted by good old MF Michael Fletcher on Braves Fan 95. And by the way, I'm going to have that. That'll be right back here on the Tone 25 Wednesday night for 1 week only. And then Friday, Braves Fan 95, MF will have it. Cerebral Smack Talk, the SmackDown Go Home show for Survivor Series from right here in Providence at the newly named Amica Mutual Pavilion. And then we'll have AEW Rampage. And then we will preview. Well, actually, no. We're actually going to start the show with Rampage because Rampage is going to be starting at 4 p.m. that day. I'm sorry I forgot to mention that. So we'll do the Rampage review first. Excuse me. And then we'll do the SmackDown review. And then we will preview the Survivor Series War Games. Saturday night, 10:30. Here on the Tone 25, the Week 12 edition of NFL Saturday. We'll talk about the Thanksgiving games. And then we'll preview the rest of the week's action. And then from there, Sunday night, 10 p.m., special edition of Talking Wrestling TXN, our recap of the Survivor Series. And then next Monday night, we do it all again for Ridiculously Raw. So with that being said, until Wednesday night for our first ever TXN Sports World Football Feast, Anthony Florio here. For good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, the phenom Michael Bullock. And great to have her back with us tonight, the returning First Lady Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Wednesday night for the football feast, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone tells you beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one. For now, Anthony Florio. So long. Bye, everybody. Bye.